Alrighty, guys, welcome back. It's your boy EQ, and up next we have Young Thug speaking on Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. I also wanted to debunk the OVO narrative that Kendrick Lamar is struggling to sell and actually expose some of Drake's recent sales. Because if Drake is catching L's according to the cult, then Drake just got bodied. But a supporter actually sent in this clip for me to react to, and it's crazy how much goalpost moving the OVOites will do. Because the conversation was never about who did more sales or other stats that could be easily manipulated or cheated. It was about who was the best, and the culture spoke, and it wasn't just the US either, it was internationally. Kendrick Lamar won fair and square, hasn't released any new music since 2024, and is still the only rapper with multiple songs on a global top 200. And this narrative that the OVOites are running with that Drake put on tons of people is obviously not telling the complete story. Those features were mutually beneficial business moves, and while you can't say that they didn't help, the Migos were white hot and were going to be blockbuster with or without that feature, as was Future, Kendrick Lamar, and the plethora of others. Even McConan had Tuesday booming before Drake even featured on it. And to bring up another artist, Fetty Wap was already destined to be the hottest artist of that year. So while again, we can't say that the Drake feature didn't help at the time, we also can't say that Drake didn't heavily benefit from the association by being tied to these very hot growing movements. And if Drake truly wants to put people on, how about start with the plethora of artists signed to the OVO sweatshop? Because OVO is like musical purgatory. Even Party Next Door has a hard time escaping the sweatshop. So yeah, guys, the cult of the OVOites like to paint half the story and not very well at that. It's okay to be a fan of an artist. I mean, music is subjective, art is subjective, but let's not be delusional here. And again, the debate was never about who sold more or streamed more. Drake has double the music on DSPs as Kendrick Lamar, and Kendrick still managed to overtake him for parts of the last year and a half, which is an incredible feat. So enough dilly-dallying. Let's jump right into this clip where we have Young Thug speaking on Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. Also, after this clip, I also wanted to debunk the OVOite narrative that Kendrick Lamar is struggling to sell and actually expose some of Drake's recent sales. Because like I said earlier, if Kendrick is catching L's according to the cult, then Drake got bodied. So we're going to be looking at that after this clip. But this egregious narrative spinning never ceases to amaze me. At least throw a few facts in there. Damn, Aiden Ross is such a degenerate.
Drake or Kendrick, like who the best?
That's what he said, yeah.
I gotta say Drake. He just did more. He put more people on. Not saying that Kendrick didn't put nobody on, but Drake just did more. He put more people on.
Kendrick literally put people on that GNX project that most hip-hop listeners probably have never heard of before. And like I said in my intro, Drake was giving features to people that probably were already going to be hot without him because they were already hot without him.
More numbers.
Shaq, what were you saying?
No, statistically. Number-wise, impact on the culture, impact on the world.
This guy obviously was locked up for a while, but even people in the pen have the internet. Because Drake may have the numbers, at least for most of the time, but Kendrick Lamar definitely had and still has the culture behind him.
Kendrick Lamar got a hell of an impact. He for sure #1 ever in life. Could possibly come out of LA.
Doug look like he fiending right now, though.
Right.
Nobody in LA could never ever be bigger than him.
That's crazy. No,
He's
you're right.
the GOAT of the West, the whole West Coast. He the GOAT of the whole West Coast for sure. Well, I don't know. I probably say Nipsey, but number-wise,
I like Nipsey better.
yeah, I like Nipsey better too. But
I definitely got a lot of love for Nipsey, and LA has a lot of love for Nipsey, but what Kendrick Lamar has done for the city would definitely stand on another tier.
I think number-wise, Kendrick Lamar beat him. And Kendrick Lamar, Drake or Kendrick, like.
While I feel like everyone has a right to their opinion, I think Young Thug is flat out wrong in this take. At the end of the day, the question that was asked was who was the best, not who sold more, because numbers don't always equate to quality in music. And like I said earlier, Kendrick Lamar is the only rapper right now with multiple songs on the global Hot 200. So yeah, the numbers game is obviously something that Drake did have for a very long time, but I feel like the big reason why he has that is because, yeah, he has double the amount of records out on these streaming platforms. So of course he's going to have more streaming numbers. But when you're considering who is the best, I truly don't think numbers should weigh that heavily into an argument over who's the best. Because if you did double up Kendrick Lamar's catalog, man, those streaming numbers would almost be identical. And I know Young Thug is probably desperate for that Drake feature given that the project didn't do the numbers that they probably would have hoped for. But we gotta call a spade, guys. Actually look at some of these comments. I know they're gonna be egregious. Nipsey is the nigga everyone thinks Kendrick is. I don't think anyone ever made that comparison. While they are from the same coast, they're very completely different artists. What rappers did Drake put on? And that's the biggest thing. Most of the artists that the OVOites want to claim that Drake put on were already white hot before Drake even entered the picture. Again, the Migos were already bubbling. Fetty Wap was already hot. Future was hot. 2 Chainz was already on a trajectory to be out of here. So if we're really going to analyze who he put on, the first people we got to look at is the people he signed. And honestly, they've had moderate success at best. And Party Next Door is dope, but he's never been looked at as a numbers guy either. Numbers, numbers, numbers. That's why he's losing to Gunna right now. Drake ended Kendrick. Drake is the most influential rapper, the realest in the game, and the highest selling GOAT. And he could be the highest selling rapper, but that doesn't necessarily make him the most influential. At the end of the day, a lot of his stuff is borrowed as well. When he first started his career, he sounded like Joe Budden, and then he took a lot of what Kanye does into his own repertoire. And when the guy is doing these features, he's magically sounding like the people he's featuring on. And this person Noodles must obviously be ignoring every clip and footage that has been coming out of this GNX tour, on top of all the other accolades and awards he's been winning over the past year and a half. Numbers-wise, Taylor Swift shits on Drake, so I guess she's the better artist. And she's definitely top 2 richest. I want to say she was overtaken by a Bollywood artist like Today or something like that. But again, guys, numbers doesn't equate to quality of the music, to the substance of the music. Kendrick Lamar won, and it's not even close. Drake fans, if those kids could read, they'd be upset. And yeah, obviously the culture of the OVOites have been allergic to any type of logic in their arguments. Kendrick also had pre-recorded disses while Drake was battling in real time. We all know who really won. I don't think that was the case either. Kendrick Lamar had a bunch of references that would have been impossible to pre-record. But as somebody that's been in the music industry producing for like 5 years now, it wouldn't surprise me if both these artists had like demos of something that were converted into disses. But to think that Kendrick Lamar was throwing out these pre-recorded disses, at least not entirely, because like I said, they had pretty recent references. Who did Michael Jackson put on? That means he's ass. And again, the cult of the OVOites have obviously proven to be allergic to logic and facts. The bigger artist is Drake only because he does R&B. If Drake just did rap, Kendrick is bigger. Just because Drake did songs with other people doesn't mean he put them on. Jay didn't put people on, and he at the top, LOL. And no, Jay actually put a bunch of people on. Look at State Property. There's a bunch of artists that Jay did put on. Drake also did features with a lot of people that already had an upward trajectory. And Drake is more of a pop artist, but let's not act like Kendrick Lamar isn't a premier artist in his own right. Not just premier rapper, but premier artist. And again, this conversation is who's the better rapper and not who's the bigger artist. Future first diamond song is with Drake. Future's first #1 is with Drake. Travis Scott's first #1 song is with Drake. The Migos' first time in the Billboard chart was when Drake jumped on Versace. Again, all these artists were on an upward trajectory. Even without that verse, they were going to be elite regardless. Kendrick is the GOAT of the West Coast, well, maybe Nipsey, but numbers-wise, Drake got 3 answers in one. Doug basically turned a barbershop debate into word salad. And I will definitely agree there because, yeah, he wasn't very coherent about the whole take. And I'll say this, Nipsey wasn't even an option in the Aiden Ross question. Answering around all that shit, he put this person on in the numbers. What about the effing music? That's why artists is putting up mid-sales and impact. That's not really in it for the music. A lot of people are in it for the bag. There's a lot of people that if there wasn't money attached to it, they would not be in music. Even when Cardi B was first starting out, she said she was doing it specifically for the bag. And she's not the only one. There is a lot of people that do build a passion for it. They do grow a passion for it. But I do think that a lot of people see it as an easy come up and an easy lick. And honestly, that's not the case anymore. All right, they go on to say, and numbers, no rapper has touched GNX since its release. Yeah. Every time we see one of these posts that say that Drake has had like the hottest selling album of the year, at least rap album, also fails to point out that, yeah, it's the best selling album released this year because GNX was released last year in 2024, and that's still outstreaming all these albums. Kendrick outsold Drake in 2017. Drake has been losing grip pause on the numbers angle since Scorpion, and especially since the beef. Literally nothing he releases has stuck a landing. Nothing has been on the charts for him longer than 8 weeks, other than probably Nokia. But even that record is an afterthought now. And the only reason I feel like Kendrick doesn't have more of these years that he's outsold Drake is because he's not as active as Drake. And Drake is releasing projects, at least back in those days, that totaled 30 to 40 songs. Basically these long playlists trying to game the system. Kendrick has the highest grossing tour of all time with Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. So what did Drake do? Extend his tour and add J. Cole to get over that feat, LOL. Stupidity comes out of Doug's mouth constantly, so I get it. And J. Cole wasn't the only one. He added 21 Savage, Lil Durk, and a plethora of other A-list rap stars. So for me, the Mr. Morale tour is still the highest selling solo rap tour. And Kendrick Lamar has already shattered the record for most tickets sold on a rap tour. I want to say it was at 1.7, and he's definitely cleared that, and he has tons more shows to go. Alrighty, guys. So because the cult of the OVOites want to keep claiming that Kendrick Lamar is catching L's on this tour, which is crazy because the dude has already sold over 100,000 tickets in 2 shows in South America, and he's looking to pack out the Argentina venue, which has the capacity of 85,000 people. If we look at the European leg of the tour, the dude already sold well over 700,000 seats as well over there. But they've obviously proven they don't live in the realm of facts. So let's actually look at one of Drake's recent shows. Alrighty, shout out to Lil D Things, a supporter of the channel. Goes on to write 15K capacity show, but the price was this cheap on Aubrey's arena show. Again, not stadium, in arena. No wonder they obsessed with Kendrick's stadium tour so damn much. And just looking at this 15K capacity, guys, that's half of what Kendrick Lamar did in Brazil. So if that's a L, what's this when he's selling tickets for $23, guys? $29, $38, $77, $64. He's pretty much giving these tickets away, guys. And I know some people are saying that he's doing these arenas because he wants to have more intimate shows with more crowd reaction, but you can't really do that when it literally looks like a begathon with a sea of signs that basically make this look like a Make-A-Wish concert. And I'll say this, the Kendrick Lamar shows are super lit, man, and the fans are definitely participating. $23, guys. These tickets are literally cheaper than like a single order on Uber Eats. This person actually had the same call out. It's all about having smaller, more intimate shows with crowd involvement. Yeah. The crowd isn't active at all, huh? Look at that. Yeah, don't leave, man. Amazing, dude. The crowd is literally going nuts. And this was in Brazil, the show that the OVOites want to claim was a failure. This is active. I would have loved to have been here. Mind you, this is a country where only 1% of the people actually speak fluent English, and 5% of the country actually speak any English at all. This is monumental. Kendrick Lamar is literally touring in areas that most rappers actually skip because they don't really do any ticket sales when they go down there. Actually look at your favorite artists and see when they actually hit the South America or Africa. It's very seldomly, guys. And when they do, it's only the blockbuster acts. But it's not just for US acts. When you have somebody that's hot in Asia or hot in Africa, they don't just jump over here and do the stadiums right away. They go and do theaters first because that's a lot easier to fill. Especially if it's in a market where, yeah, they don't really listen to you as much. You can be a Caribbean artist or an African artist and do huge numbers, let's just say New York or Miami, but when it comes to going to another area, let's just say Seattle or LA, you're not going to do nowhere near the ticket sales that you would have done in those other cities. I'm sure if Aubrey had this, he'll be extra annoying. He tried on wireless, but he really has no stage presence and has no song good enough to mosh pit. Instead, he attracts bodies, tissue papers, etc. And I definitely agree. If Drake had something like this, the OVOites would be plastering this all over social media. And for somebody that is an actor, you would have expected that stage presence to be a little better. Ask his hoes why he hasn't rescheduled those Australia dates yet. It was officially canceled though. Damn cup of coffee or front row to see Tupac. And honestly, at this moment, man, give me the cup of coffee. Tap water, I would even pay for tap water and drink it than torture myself to the cringe fest. You are on one. Hilarious. You're getting upset that Drake made his show affordable, LOL. What the F have we gotten to as a society? I'm sure if Kendrick made prices like that, you would be there instead of Twitter. And these are the same type of people that will say that Kendrick Lamar is giving away tickets when he obviously is not. At the end of the day, this is a business. And people wouldn't have been bringing this up if Drake fans weren't bringing this up. Nah, you've been out here shading Kendrick's store, and if we give this the same energy, y'all play victim. How convenient. And that's pretty much what Drake has been teaching his fans, how to play victim. And honestly, he's been terribly ineffective at it. It's all projection and overcompensation to push a desperate narrative with propaganda and misinformation. Thankfully, the rest of the world thinks they're as delusional as they sound. And yeah, all you gotta do is a quick search on X just to find countless clips and facts that would clearly lay out how much of a success Kendrick has been and continues to be. Because again, while some people may claim that Kendrick Lamar needed this beef to be listened to get attention, the honest truth is, he's been a premier artist for over a decade now. Years before this beef, he had a record do what, like 600,000 plus copies first week? So that narrative definitely has to be put to rest. LMAO, K-Bot's talking numbers now. Again, the same person that will be bringing up numbers if it's painting Drake in a positive fashion. Again, you have the right to be a fan of whoever you choose, whether it's musical artists, whether it's sports team, etc., etc. But when you're delusional enough to not be able to call a spade and give people props, man, all you look like now is just a bunch of sore losers. And that's why Drake and his fans are living in basically a Groundhog's Day where they're reliving the same day over and over again. And honestly, it's due to their own doing at the end of the day. Kendrick fans are just enjoying Kendrick Lamar and the music he's been giving us. And honestly, they probably wouldn't bring up half the stuff if the cult of the Ovihioites wasn't bringing this up literally on every single post. But definitely let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about Young Thug's assessment on who is the better artist and just using numbers and people that he put on to justify his stance? Obviously, I feel like, yeah, man, you have a right to your opinion, but you can't really use numbers when it comes to trying to prove your point as to who the better MC is, who the better rapper is. It's not about who the bigger artist is. It's about who the best is. So definitely let me know what you guys think about his take. And also let me know what you guys think about this and the fact that Drake is selling tickets for like the price of an Uber Eats order. Yeah, man, it's obviously not something that the Ovihioites are going to put out on Front Street, but you can't be surprised when the energy that you've been giving is now reciprocated, because that would be egregious. So definitely let me know what you guys think. Definitely hit the like and subscribe button, guys. It does the channel wonders. I really want to thank you guys so much for continuing to make this channel a part of your day. It honestly means the world to me, and all the love and support that you guys continue showing this channel on a daily is honestly overwhelming and probably the biggest reason why I make these videos. So I really want you guys to know how grateful I am for all of it. I do want to send out a big shout out to all those that have been joining YouTube memberships. Small way to support the channel, but definitely goes a very long way in helping out. And I also want to send a very big super thank you to all those that have been sending super thanks, because it helps out the channel tremendously. I want to personally send out a very big shout out to T-Mac for another amazing super thank, and I want to let you know personally how much I appreciate your support. So I'm definitely looking forward to your takes on both these topics. Hope you guys love this video, and I hope to see you guys soon. If someone were to pull a 50 and just buy like a whole front row, man, that would be freaking hilarious, dude.